This summer you caught her talking about the wish ball. Now you can catch her talking about three amazing topics. Stay tuned to Mary Jo Rogers coming up next. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Villa Romana Italian restaurant in Myrtle Beach in front of their nativity scene. We're focused on Mary Jo Rogers and her activities as the auction chairman of the 11th Annual American Heart Ball and her new column in the Myrtle Beach Herald. Good morning, Mary Jo.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
Less than 5 days, right at 5 days from Christmas.
Absolutely.
This Saturday.
Yes.
Think about it.
Gotta get our shopping done.
I know. You're done, though, right?
Close.
Oh, come
close.
on.
Not completely. Haven't
Really?
wrapped a thing, though.
What are some of those things you end up buying in the last week leading up to Christmas? I mean,
Little
it's such
stocking stuffers and things like that that Santa doesn't bring. So we have to fill in.
Now, when you say we, Mary Jo, you've got family here in the area.
I do. All of my family is actually within about an hour and a half away, so we get to see everybody at Christmas time. It's great. We're so lucky.
Wow, that is. Now, I know obviously you've been with us before. You were with us this summer as we were pumping up the Make-A-Wish ball, the Wish Ball, I think in mid-August, August 13th or so, which was I heard that was a huge success even with the hurricane.
It was a great success. We called it the Hurricane Party, and we just had a terrific time. And, everybody showed up, and the band played, and the Dunes Club was terrific, and so we raised a lot of money for the Make-A-Wish, I think about $27,000.
Is that right?
Very successful event.
Wow.
It's only our fourth year, so that was really good total, and we had a great time.
And Barbara Graham was in either that same week or around that same time and pumping that up.
Yep.
And she was so juiced, and of course not knowing what the weather was going to be like, not knowing about a hurricane.
At 7 o'clock that night, we made the decision that we could have the party. That was terrifying because people were coming at 7:30.
That is amazing. Well, it surely. I know some folks who ended up going and said it was an incredible success.
It really was. It was
across
fun.
the board.
Thanks for your promotion. That helped a lot.
Yeah,
too.
small. Every little effort helps, and that's why it's so important now that we're 7 weeks from the 11th Annual American Heart Ball. And of course, you're the auction chairman this year, having been on the committee in the past and having been real active attending events in the past, and of course knowing how important the auction is. I guess about a third, if not more, of the revenue.
Right.
Surely a lot of the net proceeds of the event comes straight out of the auction because folks donate and knowing that's a high-profile location for them to get a lot of notoriety for their companies.
Well, they do. I don't have to tell you, but 850 people attend this event, and so the publicity you get from being an auction donor is amazing. And the Heart Association's a great cause. I don't know anybody that hasn't had somebody touched by heart disease in their life, either personally or through a family member or a friend. So, it's a great cause. It's a really fun event, as you well know, and this year especially because we're going to have something that nobody's ever seen at one of these events.
Oh, wow.
We're going to have Segway appearing at our event and auctioning one off for the live auction. And Jonathan Formo from Redline Sports, who is a wonderful sponsor and has just historically been just a terrific auction donor and supporter of the Heart Association, has agreed to donate. He's the newest Segway dealer in this market, and he's agreed to donate. Now, for people who don't know what that is.
Yeah, let's get into the Segway.
Let's
segue into that.
It's a Segway human transporter. It's a two-wheeled people mover that you stand on, and it has a gyro in it, so you can't fall off of it.
Oh, come on.
Okay, you can fall off of it because Jonathan did tell us one story about an adventure he had around his pool, but he was racing his son. So, that's a little different. But anyway, it's and so you stand on it and you ride, and it goes between 5 and 10 miles an hour. You can add a golf bag holder to it so that you can take it on the golf course. And there's just all kinds of uses for the thing, and these will be the first ones you'll see in the Myrtle Beach market. So
is that
very
right?
exciting? Yes.
So that's even particularly exciting for our viewers in the PD in southeastern North Carolina who come down and have the opportunity to bid on that.
That's right, exactly.
That's one of the most exciting things about the auction is oftentimes there's so many things you just couldn't get in a store.
No.
You couldn't get for a reasonable price. You have an opportunity, knowing that every dollar you're spending is going to fight heart disease and stroke, the #1 and #3 killers in America. As you said, virtually everyone, if not everyone, has been touched in some way, either directly or indirectly, by heart disease and stroke.
That's right, they have. I could tell you many stories. One sad and one very, very happy. So, it's a wonderful organization, and they've made a friend of mine's life just totally better with some breakthrough surgery that you couldn't get even 5 years ago. So, it's it's important. And again, we appreciate Redline Sports for being so incredibly generous. They're also donating a four-wheeler for those.
You're kidding.
No. So
wow.
for those who like to hunt and fish and just ride, there'll be an opportunity to bid on that as well.
Mary Jo, for viewers who may need to get off to school right now or get to work or otherwise get out of the house at a few minutes after 7, is there a good phone number for someone to call if they want to find out about tickets available for the Heart Ball or sponsorships available or opportunities to even donate auction items?
There is. They can call the Heart Association's main number, which is 626-3939.
Okay.
And Janine or Tammy or Michelle, any of those can take care of them.
Absolutely. And there's a heck of a lot of auction volunteers around, so if someone in our area, even someone in our viewing area,
desperately needed. We would love to have some help to pick up items, to set up the auction on the day of the event, to help us in the Heart Association's office with putting together packages and putting together bidder numbers. It's a big event, and with 850 bidders out there, it takes a lot of office help, and the Heart Association works on a very thin budget. You know, all the money raised, we try and put as much of that as humanly possible towards the actual research and grants for heart disease. So we run on a very limited staff and a lot of volunteers, so anybody we could get would be really helpful.
That's exactly right. And this staff is even more constrained because of the ride-a-thon, the annual ride-a-thon. Most Heart Association chapters just have a walk and a gala.
That's
just have
right.
those
and
two
we
main
have three
events.
big
There's three
events.
gigantic events, each pushing $200,000 or more a year. Obviously, the Heart Ball's goal this year, $285,000, pushing right up on the envelope of $300,000. To know, again, so much of that comes from the auction, but sponsorship opportunities are another avenue, and obviously a lot of sponsors come in every year because they know, just like you said, high-profile event. I mean, folks are paying $150 a ticket oftentimes to get out there, but again, knowing that number one goal is those funds are going to the Heart Association.
Well, that's exactly right. Again, you get a lot of bang for your buck with the sponsorship for this event because, you know, again, a lot of people see it, ton of advertising, 850 people at the event, and it's all for the right cause. You know, in the end, that's what it's really all about. So it makes a big difference. And two, it's a fun party, you know, with the Occasions playing this year, who I haven't personally seen, but everyone I've talked to says they are just a great band. So,
yes.
That should be really fun.
Elaine Thompson was with us last week, Mary Jo, and I really wanted her to hum a few bars to I'm a Girl Watcher, but one of her favorite songs, and so many melodies out of that band that are so popular and so well known in this area. And of course, you know, when we're talking about fighting heart disease and stroke, it's a great segue into into much of your life, which is constantly focused on that. Of course, just last week, the Holiday Survival Guide in your Feeling Fit, Looking Fabulous column, which just kicked off. Share with the viewers a little bit about kicking off a weekly column in one of the local newspapers.
Well, that's been so much fun. I tell you, I'm amazed at how many people have really told me how much they appreciate it and enjoy it. So for me, you know, ego-wise, it's been a great thing, but it's also just a really fun thing to help people who aren't fitness professionals understand that there are plenty of ways that you can go out there and you know, really get into fitness without having to join a gym or without having to, you know, hire a personal trainer. Not that I'm knocking either of those two things, because they're both wonderful for people that enjoy it, but it's you know, fitness is about more than just you're going out and working out. It's about your mind, your body, your spirit, all three of them, and you got to protect all three. And so we get to give a little insight into how to do that quick and easy, you know, 10-15 minutes a day. You can really make a difference in your own life. And the Holiday Survival Guide is really all about the stress of the holidays. You know how hectic your life probably is right now with shopping and wrapping and parties. And and one of the things I was telling was about my weekend with 5 parties in 4 days. And you know, this is the last big weekend, and then you still have to wrap and have time to enjoy time with your family. And so I want to stress to everybody that the most important thing to do this next week is to take a little bit of time and just recharge your batteries and enjoy what the season's really all about, and just slow down. Spend an evening at home, and this is all part of your fitness. It's part of your mental fitness. And turn on the fireplace if you have one, and turn on the Christmas lights, and just relax and enjoy the evening. Rent a Christmas movie, or just, you know, enjoy the season, because I think we've spent so much time running and doing that we forget what the season's really all about.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly, and we're sitting right in front of
absolutely.
What the
we're sitting
right
in front of the season's absolutely all about. And you know, one of my favorite things to do this time of year too is to volunteer. And the Red Cross Christmas Dinner. I'm just going to put in a plug for that, although I've never been able to do it myself because, again, we're with family that day. but there's so many people that don't have families, and I think the Red Cross just does an amazing event with that,
Right.
to feed people who don't have anywhere to go, or who, and then to get people together. Families go down and help with this, and that's their Christmas tradition, which I think is amazing. So.
It is huge. You know, Janice Ash Saliano was with us a week ago today, last Monday, the 13th, and obviously for her, they have so many folks, volunteers like her and her daughter that have been doing this for the entire 16 years. They've got what they really are lacking right now are still funds, and funds can be sent in to the American Red Cross chapter here on Pampas Drive in Myrtle Beach. Up until Christmas Day, they can be donated through your church. 3 big locations: First Presbyterian Church Christmas Day from 1 to 4, Blaine Methodist Church in Murrells Inlet from 1 to 3 on Christmas Day, and then Whittemore Park Middle School in Conway from 1 to 3. It's an opportunity, and these meals are open to whether you don't have a meal on Christmas Day or you've got 1,000 meals on Christmas Day or have those opportunities.
Right.
They want to get it out to everyone and know the Red Cross is there for them, but there are a heck of a lot of volunteers and their constant needs, but number one is the $7,000 they need between today and this Saturday.
Absolutely, to pay for the food.
To pay for it,
just
absolutely.
to cover the cost of it, you know. But it is such a worthwhile event. Please, everybody, I highly recommend it. So
you can call the American Red Cross chapter. Mary Jo, you know, I want to talk to you about how you got into, you know, I don't think we've yet gotten into you teaching kickboxing, weightlifting, step and cardio, and the key word there is step and cardio combat. You know, a lot of folks, as they're sitting back, I want to talk to you about not this past week's column, but the weekend before, the week before, there was a great piece where you talked about your mom who's 69 and walking through New York City. And of course, you in there talk about an 80-plus-year-old that you see every morning. I think at 6:30 at King's. You probably saw her 30 minutes ago or a little while ago. Maybe this morning you're taking the day off. Thank you for coming in today to be with us. But, you know, it's fascinating when you think about folks who really make a commitment at whatever age to get out there and to keep their body strong, which, again, ties in so well to fighting heart disease and stroke.
Well, especially for older people. You know, a lot of people who never exercised when they were younger think, I'm too old to do this now. Well, the fact of the matter is you're never too old. I mean, these folks, and Kingston is a perfect example just because I know all those folks because I teach a lot of mornings there. And a lot of the group comes in the morning. There's a group that swims every morning. And they're there when the doors open at 6:30, they're there. And, you know, you talk to these folks and they've had knees replaced. They can't do the high-impact aerobics anymore.
Right.
Well, you don't have to work out. You know, I mean, this young lady, and I'll call her a young lady because I tell you, she could probably outswim me in the pool any day.
Oh, yeah.
She teaches water aerobics to a group of ladies. She also swims every day. Her husband has had a heart attack, and he's still at the gym every day working out, knowing how important it is for cardiac rehab purposes. And they swim, and it's a great, you know, it's a great way to socialize too if you don't have a lot of social contact. And you know, as we get older, if your kids are moving away and doing their thing, it's important to have social interaction. And if you haven't got that group of people, then again, a gym environment is a perfect place to do that. There's a lot of professionals in the gyms that can teach people how to use machines properly for weight training if they want to do some weight training. And again, with an older population, there's no reason not to train with weights. It'll build muscle mass, it'll build bone. You just have to do it light weights, a lot of repetitions, safely, and have someone show you what to do. So, but it's an incredibly rewarding thing to see people, you know, starting in their 60s to work out.
Right.
And, you know, like I said with my mom, she's been on Oak Island for years and hasn't gone anywhere. And in 2 weeks, she went to Washington, D.C. one weekend and New York the next weekend. She was a world traveler.
Oh, my God.
And, but she probably hasn't walked that much in 10 years. And she could really feel a difference. And so now she's made a commitment to maybe try and do more at home, too, so it doesn't hurt so bad when you go traveling.
Yes, Mary Jo. Share with viewers. I'm trying to figure out how. Just sitting here thinking about this. I know we're and of course last week with your holiday survival guide and talking about so many things going on. When we think about people who've really got a lot going on, you're auction chairman for the Heart Ball. Obviously continuing to write this column, kicking that off, but every morning dedicated to kickboxing or weightlifting or cardio combat. We haven't even touched on so many other charitable groups that you're involved in as chairman of the board of the Better Business Bureau, obviously president-elect of Grand Strand Optimist Club, surely involved with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. You have a job, though, that kind of helps support you do all this. What are you doing for the kind of real job there, Mary Jo?
You know, that supports my volunteer activities. That's what I jokingly say. But I work with Carolina First Bank as a commercial loan officer.
Oh, great.
And I work with the greatest group of people on earth. It's just an organization that is like family. and they make doing business great for the community.
Yeah.
We're pretty much a local bank. We're South Carolina headquartered bank and the largest South Carolina headquartered bank, and like the Herald, being local makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Our commitment to the community is there. We do our sponsorships locally, not nationally or internationally. So most of the dollars we put into the community go to local things, and we do a lot of lending, a lot of banking for people, and it's just it's a great company.
I saw y'all are one of the big sponsors, a $5,000+ sponsor for this year's Hardball, coming up again in 7 weeks, and how invaluable that is to make that commitment, as you say, reinvest in those funds. I know Scott Plyler was with us pumping up the Hardball last year. We were in the lobby of the Marriott pumping it up. It was a couple days beforehand. I think he termed y'all a super community bank,
That's
kind
us,
of a large regional bank, but still South Carolina based. And of course, you'll hear smaller community banks kind of laughing about that. But it's for surely that commitment to make a continual dedication, both to your home state as well as back in the community. And as you said, you all having that ability with Bellamy and other, folks who've been around a long time and know how to reinvest funds locally and know where they need to go. Well,
that's right. And, Scott hit the nail on the head with the super community bank. We can do everything the big banks can do, but we can do it faster, usually cheaper, and just a lot less headaches. And that's what people want a community bank for, is because we know the people in this community. We know who we're dealing with, and we deal like a community bank. We believe in the people in this community. And so that's really important for us.
We got less than 10 minutes, Mary Jo. Share with the viewers where you were first introduced to aerobics or kickboxing or basic weightlifting, and then we gotta have that quick definition of cardio combat, or the step in cardio combat. How does that come into effect? But when you were first introduced, and what prompted you to stick with it and then become a fitness instructor? I think a certified fitness instructor.
Well, I didn't really start exercising myself until I was in college. And so, I'm one of those people who can tell you that you don't, playing sports all through your younger years doesn't necessarily make you an athlete later, any more than not doing anything in your younger years makes you less of an athlete as you get older. But in college, I discovered aerobics classes and just found out that I'm a gym person. And there's two different types. There's outdoor home workout people, and there's gym people. I like the social interaction of the gym and the self-imposed competition with all the people in classes or in the weight room or wherever it is. It's always easier to win when people you're competing with don't know they're competing with you. So that was my big challenge in the aerobics classes, is I could go longer, harder, and faster than anyone else. So so I started back in the quote Jane Fonda days when high impact aerobics was the thing, and just loved it, and loved weight training, and spent about 10 years probably just as an aerobics participant and a gym member, and then met Denny Starr. And Denny was at the time a Hollywood trainer to the stars, who had family in Myrtle Beach, and he would come here and do special classes. And he'd come to Kingston, and we'd go and take his classes at Kingston. And he taught kickboxing, and it was just the best thing I'd ever taken in my life. Total stress relief. You can punch and hit and never hurt anybody, but get out every bit of stress you have. And so Denny came about 4 years ago, I guess, and did a kickboxing certification. And I was not certified as aerobics instructor at the time, but we decided that would be a good way to learn the right way to kickbox, the safe way. So I did that, and right after that, Judy McCracken, who was then the aerobics coordinator for Kingston and is now at American Athletic Club, asked me if I wouldn't like to teach some of the classes and get certified. And so I kind of fell into it. And since then, of course, Denny's moved back into the area and opened his own boxing gym.
Right.
It's Star Fitness, which is a kickboxing and personal training. He has classes, and so I've been working out with him as a personal trainer for 2 years now, and that's purely boxing. And that was just my love of being able to feel empowered as a woman, especially. In a world where sometimes women don't have some power in some areas. And so we do self-defense training, we do boxing training, and so I feel pretty safe when I'm out in the world now that I'm pretty capable of taking care of myself. And that's been a real thing for me to, as an ego booster and stress reliever. But it also helps me with the cardio combat classes, because there's a lot of boxing elements, there's a lot of martial arts elements, there's pure fitness elements of jumping jacks, just your pure calisthenics, and some traditional aerobics thrown in. So it just makes for a more fun class when you can kind of relate it to something real.
How exciting, Mary Jo. Now, is this primarily women in the class, or are there both women and men?
It depends on the classes, but for the most part we have a mix, and in the kickboxing classes especially, and the bag and glove classes where you're actually punching something physical, there's a lot more guys. You know,
Really?
they like to punch something real and not just the air so much, but it's a nice mix. I mean, you get everybody. I mean, Denny will be the first to tell you that when he was training, he trained under Billy Blanks, and you know, Shaquille O'Neal and Dave Navarro, and I mean, there were a lot of big names in his classes. All the kids from 90210. So, yeah, he's you know, he's seen a lot of guys and girls, and here in the Grand Strand, more guys than you would imagine taking these classes. So, you know, it's a nice mix, and it's good for anyone.
Yeah, and that's fascinating, Mary Jo. When we think about that aspect that you talked about, that some women oftentimes feel that need to be empowered. Is that strange for guys being in a class that's overseen or instructed by a woman? I mean, or is it? Are they real easy about it? I mean, are there some funny things there?
No, I think the guys like to go to classes instructed by women, and the women like to go to classes instructed by men, and that's human nature more than anything. But no, I don't think that. I mean, I don't see the men having a difference between a male or a female instructor so much.
Right.
You know, we have so few male instructors in town that a male instructor is a very popular thing because you get, you know, it's just different. It's just totally different. We've got a lot of great women instructors in this town, but very few men. So
sounds like a new profession I need to look into.
I'm telling you.
Particularly
you need another job like I do, Greg. Come on now.
That's right. We find things to put our time into, and again, it's so special sitting here in front of the nativity scene, knowing again that baby Jesus won't arrive for a few days. Ronaldo and his family have been doing this forever, and of course, Ronaldo and his mother will be with us this Friday, the day before Christmas. His mother talking about memories of Rome at Christmas time, and as well as just being in Rome. And Ronaldo and his mom are such special folks, and their commitment to this community, as you talk about. He was our presenting sponsor of the golf tournament 3 or 4 years ago for the Heart Association. At that time, we used to have four events for the Heart Association in July, which was nuts, and we had it at the Grand Dunes. Ronaldo committed $10,000 as a local guy, really the only big sponsor, and it was such a huge success. And he began to get so much more active, knowing the real needs for fighting heart disease and stroke in the area. We just got a couple of minutes, Mary Jo. You think about that aspect around this time of the year and so many needs. One of the great things I saw in the column where you were talking about your mom and talking about no age barriers and exercising was walking with a ball. It was a great thing that I love that idea as it relates to coordination. So many basic things that you can pick up from your column.
Just simple little things. I mean, you know, as we get older, the first thing to go is your coordination. So, you know, if you and you can get it back, but you just have to really work at it. And, you know, there's so many simple little tricks for that. And, you know, I do encourage people to email me if they have questions about that. You can reach me at mrogers1@sc.rr.com. And I'd love to answer questions personally, and we'll take the time to do it. So, you know, anybody that has a question, any kind of fitness question, I'd love to help them with the answer. And if I don't know it, I know people that do. So
right, very definitely. Of course, folks can read your column online. I printed off the column from last week this morning at thelocalnewspaper.com, and then just click the Feeling Fit, Looking Fabulous, which is so I hope that I got the name of the column right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking Fabulous every week in the Herald. And, of course, so many of our viewers, as you know, in the PD in southeastern North Carolina who may not be Herald subscribers. But, of course, the big push, knowing we're this close not only to Christmas but to the Heart Ball, share with viewers a couple more key auction items that they'll have an opportunity only to see at the Heart Ball. There's surely some of those big chef packages.
It's terrific. We have got some of the best chefs in the area are going to be willing to do in-home parties.
Oh, wow.
So you can have a dinner party and not do a thing except write a check to the Heart Association. So that makes it doubly wonderful.
Yeah.
Tom Mullally is one of them, Kim Lloyd. And this year we have a sushi party.
Oh, you're kidding.
So you can have an in-home sushi party with the new chef at the Alamorada Fish Company, which is a new restaurant up next to Bass Pro Shop at Colonial Mall.
Right.
Great place if you haven't been there yet.
No.
Great place.
No.
We also have a golf cart. We have plasma TVs. We have all kinds of restaurant packages. Wonderful art. We have lamps and kids wear and surf stuff and bicycles. It's just, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But here's one for those who have teenagers: is we have 2 driving school packages.
Oh,
I don't know if people realize this, but when your teenager turns 15, before they can get their license, they have to take a driving school.
Right, yeah.
And so we're going to have 2 packages for that. We have discounts on medical services, braces, plastic surgery, anything you can think of, it's going to be there. So.
Mary Jo, well, you guys are out on the street constantly getting these things dropped. I mean, getting these things picked up as well as getting commitments on the phone, staying constantly on the phone.
And we can take commitments right up until, just before the Heart Association's function on February the 5th.
Right, right.
And would like to have everything in by mid-January so we can get people in the program.
Yes, very definitely. But folks will still have that incredible exposure even right up to the point.
Absolutely.
And if anyone knows, they can call the Heart Association office or they can email you at mrogers1 at sc.rr.com. At this time of the year, the biggest inspiration for you right now, Mary Jo, so many things going on in your life. Can you sit back and think we're 5 days from Christmas, and at this time of the year, what really keeps you focused on...
It's the Christmas for me, the gift for me is to give to other people. I mean, that's what makes it what it is, It's not the receiving, it's the giving. And so, I have a lot of that in my life, and, we're so blessed all throughout the year that it's nice to be able to give some of that back. I'm very lucky. My husband and I, we're incredibly successful, and we've got great friends, great family, and so, what's not to love?
That's great. Thanks so much for being with us this morning, Mary Jo.
Thank you, Greg.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Mary Jo Rogers coming up next. This is a special time of the year. There's so many activities you can get involved to volunteer in. You heard her talking about this Saturday's Christmas Day dinner benefiting the American Red Cross. We didn't get Mary Jo in this morning to talk about the American Red Cross. We had Janice Ash Saliano in last Monday pumping that up, but there's still an opportunity for you to be a part of that. There's an American Red Cross phone number in your phone book. Open it up, call it, see how you can make a donation and make this Saturday's event special. They've been doing it. This is the 16th year. The 16th year, you can be a part of that, not because we're sitting in front of a nativity scene today, not because you've got a heck of a lot going on in your life, you don't have any time, but because it's the right thing to do. Give them a call. 477-0020. That's 843-477-0020. You can call them or you can send a donation to Pampas Drive. But the opportunity is 2,500 folks being served this Saturday. Blaine Methodist Church in Murrells Inlet from 1 to 3. If you're down in Georgetown County, you can drive up there. If you can't, they'll drive it to you. Whittemore Park Middle School in Conway. If you're anywhere close to there, they'll drive it to you. And for 16 years at First Presbyterian Church in Myrtle Beach from 1 to 4. They don't need the volunteers, they need money. You think, how could there be an event where they don't need volunteers? They've had volunteers forever. They keep sending out press releases. We don't need volunteers, we need money. You think, how can I be a part of that? If you don't have any money to give them a call if you've got an idea of somebody. Please be a part of it as well. Take a look at Mary Jo Rogers' column at thelocalnewspaper.com. Feeling fit, looking fabulous, or call the American Heart Association at 626-3939 if you can be a part of donating your time or services to fight the #1 and #3 killer, heart disease and stroke.